Boom. What's up, everybody? How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Yeah, right on, man. Right on. I'm Jeremy,
I'm Jeff.
and together we are What More Could You Want? Thank you for joining in on us. This is our episode number 20. So I've decided to celebrate a little myself. Brought a little bit more water than usual because my mouth made me a little more dry than usual, if you know what I mean. And so anyway, we have not been able to record for a couple of weeks due to family things going on, and my son was sick and a couple other things. But anyway, it's been a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a minute. Since we last spoke with everybody, I know that I've got a couple things that I want to touch on in particular. I'll just say them out loud so we can come back to them. One of them, and the first one is most important to me, is I attended my first guided meditation, and it was a 30-minute meditation. Solid. No break, no nothing. And wow, have I got some stuff to share. Not only with the world out here, but with you, man.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear about it.
It blew my mind. And now I'm going to another thing that they've scheduled, a similar type of event, but a little bit longer even, later this week.
Awesome.
So good, I'm going to go back. And
that's what it's about.
Man, it was crazy. But anyway, man, it feels good to be back. The world is still crazier than batshit.
That's normal.
Right, I know, man.
Sadly to say.
Yeah, but I'm so happy to, I guess, announce it to everybody that I've stepped away from Facebook. I'll get on there to maybe hop on Marketplace if I'm looking for something to buy or if I need to sell something. And other than that, it's all barrel brands.
Yeah, I've been on there. I was, selling some stuff on there, but like same thing.
Yeah, man.
It's just like that. And then, I'll get on Instagram because it's a little bit more controlled. But
Yeah.
then, something I don't like, I'll just keep scrolling by it.
Yeah, I used to I'd catch something that I knew was going to piss me off.
Oh, yeah.
Or
People
trigger
do
me
that,
or whatever.
They sit there and they try to find it.
Well, it's finding, what do they call that? Whenever you're stuck in a circle of people that all say the same shit all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you're feeding each other. So like you can never be wrong.
Yeah.
And there's no outside influence. I can't remember what the hell they call that. It's not a peer group, but it's, but anyway, man, it's for me, it's been just after a couple of short weeks, even it's been, a very positive change for the rest of my life. I mean,
it's good.
Dude, it's funny how, and I take it back to meditation.
Mm-hmm.
When you meditate, you learn when you fall off course how to get back on.
Yeah. And
the better you get at it, the longer you practice, the quicker you get on, and the longer that ride can be.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, what did I just say?
Getting off course, getting back on, the longer the ride can be.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't even know where I was going with that. Like I said, I'm celebrating today. But I will just say this. I will say this. When I decided to get off, I found myself going back.
Yeah.
Just for a second. Like checking notifications. Well, the less you're on it, guess what? The fewer notifications you get.
Yeah.
So it starts to become much easier to distance yourself from it.
It does. I have to manage it because I got to manage a page for work and stuff like that. But there's a few of us, thankfully, so I don't have to be glued to it. But I literally will do that. Maybe some birthdays. Yeah. And that's about it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's been amazing, and what's really cool, even more so, what you're not taking away from it, all the bad stuff, is that you have all that time, even if it's just minutes, to do so much more.
Well, yeah,
And
I always scrolled by stuff like I would look for particular things my friends or something are posting, and if I didn't see anything, it's like off.
Yeah, dude.
Because it's just like on Instagram, I'm not like I'll get on there, which is funny. My wife today was like, she always shows you're on. I'm like, well, on my laptop, I leave it opened. Yeah. And it's an old habit from my previous job because it was easy to do our social media stuff that way, leaving it open on your computer versus on your phone. And I go, a habit, yeah. So she's like, it always shows you're on. I'm like, well, I'm not on it right now. I'm talking to you. I'm like, but I don't post on there as often. I'll do stuff in the stories daily, but it's like, I don't sit there and think, it's obviously social media was a requirement, kind of part of my job, but I don't sit there and feel so obligated now that I constantly have to come up with something every day or every other day to post. Like I'm still writing and doing stuff for me, which I'll start to post some of the stuff when I want. Yeah. Like You know, I put like, you know, I do one every year on my birthday. You know, you'll write your like, what, you know, some lessons of things. And so I did a little bit of life lessons from, you know, growing a little older this year, but I didn't put that up like I normally would have. You know, you just kind of like, I just don't feel like it's nice. Like I don't feel so obligated. I didn't even want to post about the new ride.
Right.
But I was like, you know what?
I was surprised.
Yeah, and it torn me because I watched it like a couple days before. I took the pictures. Like, you know what? No, I'm gonna do it. No, I'm not gonna do it. Yeah, I want to do it, but also too because I want to post it. Because too, then when Josh and I do the work, I want to tag his ass to give him some credit.
Of
course, I want to give the man love.
Yeah,
we're not doing anything crazy to it, but it's just one of those things. I want to give him love for it, and it's like, you know, seeing the stuff. It's like, yeah, you know what? Fuck it, I'm proud.
Yeah, man.
You know, those little things, no different than my wife loves to post stuff about the house. She's proud of what we've done. And it's like, you know what? I'm going to sit in that little pool for a little bit and have a moment of pride. But, okay, cool.
Right.
And on we go.
Yeah, man. Yeah. That's, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You know,
and it's not,
you're not being braggadocious or being
that's
belligerent with it, you know?
Something that I've never done.
I think the people that know you know that.
No,
so it's sort of a foregone conclusion.
Yeah.
And I think the only person that is worrying about it is sitting right across from me.
Yeah. That's true.
Right? I mean, we do that. We do that a lot. You know, you just worry. And all of a sudden it's like your reality, but it's nobody else's reality.
Yeah. And it's the hardcore truth of it, you know, sit there and worry all day long and it doesn't change the outcome. As like we were talking before we get on, it's those little things. It doesn't matter what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's the great thing when you let go and just let things do, so to speak.
Yeah.
You start noticing how amazing and beautiful some things can be that maybe you didn't before, right?
Yeah.
And it may be nothing different.
Mm-hmm.
It's you that's different. You're seeing things with maybe a clearer lens or a different lens.
Yeah.
Right. So, you know, there's no need to beat that dead horse, but I mean, hell, it's, you know, it's funny though. Once you have to say it, you have to get it out before you go, oh shit.
And so that brings me to a point of one of my things. I'll just start talking about.
Go.
So, as you know, a couple weeks ago, I did the online masters lifting.
Yes.
Because no one can go anywhere and do this. It was supposed to be in Orlando. So I did the online masters. I had one of the best meets I've had, considering it was, you know, at my house. And I submitted my videos, and I'm like waiting, and like I got stuff in the mail. I got some medals in the mail, and I'm like, okay, well, what the fuck are the results? You know,
you got
I'm
medals
like
and no results.
Yeah, well, no, they hadn't posted. So then it was.
I guess they had to do that though.
It was Thursday night, I guess, or sometime Thursday. They officially posted the final results. So looking at it, I'm like, okay, looking at these guys, I'm like, what the fuck's my name? Okay, heartbroken. Oh. So, I submitted my snatch at 118 kilos, 260 pounds. They called it a no lift, saying I pressed out. I submitted 146 kilo clean and jerk, which is about 325-ish, 6-ish pounds, I think. Called that a press out on the jerk. They took my 143 kilo clean and jerk, which is 315, and I didn't submit my other snatch because they said, you know, only submit one. And I was like, okay, whatever. Emailed the people, and I'm like, yeah, judge said you pressed out. And you can't argue. There's nothing to fucking argue about.
Right.
Which is sad. The people who've coached me, I sent them the videos, and like, that's fucking, you know, they're fucking irate and pissed, but what are you going to do? So if they would have took my lifts, which I'm shocked they didn't, I would have been the champion. I would have destroyed the other guy by a good amount of kilos.
Ugh.
So I get,
since
I didn't count my snatch, I only took that. I didn't total. So I'm dead last. I got second overall on the clean and jerk. So I got that medal, and then everyone got like a complimentary one just because it was an online thing. They decided to do something a little different to commemorate the 2020 online thing, which, okay, cool. But I was like, you know what? I was fucking pissed, heartbroken, about ready to lose my shit. And I did. My wife will admit this, so once she listens to this, she will. I lost my shit, and it was right before we normally go to bed. I had to be up early next day. I'm like, I'm going to fucking bed. I just going a mile a minute. And I went to our bedroom and closed the door, and I was like, fuck, I'm going to go get my headphones and listen to something, try and calm myself down. Walked out. She was on the phone. And just like you're saying, you're worrying about something that it really sucks to work so fucking hard for, and it pulls me out for the rest of the year. But it's like, you know what? Okay, there's a reason for it. So we'll figure out what that is when it comes. in that instance, she was on the phone, I believe, with her dad or mom, someone they knew. She just saw had passed away. And so in that instance, I was still fucking floored. Kind of was, taken out of them, but just wanted to go to fucking sleep because I wanted to get it, just put the day behind, try and calm my ass down.
It's understandable.
And then it's like in that moment's notice, life like literally slapped me. And it's like, you think that's a big deal? Someone they know passed, but to whomever immediate family of that individual is, how do they feel right now? And I'm bitching about 3 judges that fucking didn't think my lists were a damn when others did. And right. I say agree too, but
sure.
Okay, cool. That's how it goes. And so it's like, it's that constant reminder of like, how precious life is, but the things that we take so serious and like so hardcore in our day to day, how really important is that? Like, yeah, does it suck? Congrats to the, guys that finished above me, hey, they earned it. But that's how the cards drew for me today. But it was like, literally, it really sucked in that moment to be like, fuck. Like, I got these medals. I'm like, okay, I only got these. Normally they send them, for lifting category overall. And I'm like, okay, well, what the hell's going on? I'm like, like, these dudes must have had, I was telling my wife, I'm like, these dudes must have had a phenomenal meet. Cause like the original guys on the roster, there's only 2 above me.
Yeah. And
I'm like, I can beat these if I pull, shit out of my ass and have one of my best meets lifting. And I did. And then I'm like, well, fuck, man, these guys must have had a good one. I'm like, man, I can't wait to see the results. Right. These dudes had to pull some shit out. I'm like, hell yeah, this is good. Yeah. Well, lo and behold, they did good, but not to the extent of what mine would have been if they counted. But it's woulda, coulda, shoulda. And it's just like, next day I was still a little, but it put it in perspective. It's like, you know what? It doesn't mean shit when you hear someone passed. Yeah. To think then, how fucking selfish am I right now in this moment? How, that poor me moment, which we all have, that someone, my wife and her family knew, then those immediate family members who lost an individual to sit there, like that night I didn't sleep. Yeah. Fucking tossed and turned because that's all I thought about was how pissed I was about that. But then, man, you're pissed about that and that's what's going on in somebody else's the next day. And it was just like, you know what? I still get a little angry, like if I sit and think about it, but it's like, you know what? Okay.
Well, let me ask you this, man. And it's not, I don't know shit about dick. I'll be the first to admit that. But as of late, I've had a lot of thoughts that have seemed to be fairly decent on my journey, and they're starting to push me in the right way versus where I used to get pushed and pulled. Yeah. You ever heard of or thought of like maybe when you decided to go back to lift again after you decided not to, maybe something was trying to tell you that, hey, man, maybe this is enough. Yeah. Or, so that's one way. That's my question to you. Yeah. But what I'm curious is that the direction that you think you should have went, or are you now more fevered to go and do it again even better now?
So 2 very good questions. So my original plan for the year was to do the online masters, do the online Pan Ams, call it a day. Right. And then just reevaluate when 2021 came. Because like Worlds in 2021's in Japan, which would be fucking awesome to go to. Pretty neat. I can't remember when it is. I think it's May. So plenty of time to prep, but
maybe not.
That's a pretty plenty of time to prep physically. That's a lot of financial cost to throw out there in that short time. And they give you ample notice. But this year, Worlds are supposed to be in America, in Florida during the same time.
Orlando.
So, same time. So that's why I was like, oh, cool. They're going to be in the States. Let's do this. So it's like, okay, we'll do Pan Ams. So it's like, yeah. And then I do have that, like, I want my redemption. So I will probably, when the new year hits, I'll still do my stuff, possibly, and give it another shot. But I really wanted to give it one more run for Justin because I told him I was going to do this. And regardless of the end result, I still wanted to do it. And I still wanted to do it for myself, too, and for him.
That makes sense.
But then too, I've also have, wanting to start getting back into the other types of fitness that I'm doing. So I've been mixing up, doing a lot of the tack fit, steel mace, club bell training that I didn't do steel mace. I'm learning that now from my buddy Isak Milan's online stuff. But I started getting back into the tack fit stuff, and that's all stuff 10 years ago, a little prior 10 years ago. I was doing all before the World Martial Arts Games.
Okay, gotcha.
That was like my hardcore conditioning on top of all the martial arts stuff that I was doing to prep me for it. And I miss kind of doing that. And it's also from watching like the TV show Kingdom, which is now on Netflix. Not promoting it, but Frank Grillo and those guys, there's some badass dudes in the show. But it kind of lit fire in me of when I fought. I don't have a desire to fight.
Right.
I could go do point stuff and I'd be fine. I don't want to go out and fight and do the training camp and all that kind of stuff and the sacrifice that really takes to what those guys do. But it kind of like, man, I want to get back and doing the martial arts. So it's like, you know what? This week I'm not gonna lift with the barbell. I'm only using it warm up accessory stuff, not doing my normal stuff. Give my body a break because my body's been hurting.
Sure.
Putting it to the ringer,
Yeah, man.
Did how many weeks of maxing out for my coach Kyle, and it's like, pushing hardcore, and sometimes I didn't listen to the percents that were there. You feel good, like Justin says, you may never know unless day will come again. So I know I was pushing the fucking limit. It was hurting, but it was worth it.
Yeah.
And still, to me, it was worth it. So,
of course.
But it's just kind of like a shift, and I think that's how life goes. You go in a wave, and you come back to something that you used to do. You reignite that passion, and then you do it for a while, and then you come back to it again.
Yeah.
And then again.
We're all I think we're all on a journey, and everything that we go through, they're lessons.
Yeah.
Right. It's things that you need to learn for something else down the line.
Exactly.
Whether it was good or bad, it was how you caused it or reacted to it or lived with it or didn't live with it that matters. Right? I mean, that stuff is that's what matters.
Yeah.
And I don't it's not made up things. You know what I mean? Like a lot of this stuff we talk about, I guess maybe somebody could say, oh, well, that's, hippy dippy, whatever. But man, when you start living it,
well, that's why, those types of things that made me think, because I think you have it. Yes. Right here. Yeah. Memento Mori, talking about death. Death is always imminent. The coins that we have on the back of the mic holders and stuff from Ryan Holiday's Stoic stuff, and they're all different things from different Stoic philosophers. But it reminded me in that small glimpse of, man, this sucks. All this training, this, and that. But then it makes you realize how precious life is, that, I didn't win, didn't place where I wanted to. I still got to do it, and I'm still alive.
And you had a great advantage in that you had two things collapse around you, and they were so much so and so connected to you, it was easy to see.
Yeah.
I think what happens with some people, most of us, most times, notwithstanding you and I, you'll have that sign there.
Yeah.
But you won't recognize it.
Oh, I agree.
Right? But when it's a fucking death, it sort of like piques your...
And I didn't know this person, which, if I did, it would have been even greater the cause.
But your family did.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's just in that moment, it's like, man, this is completely irrelevant. And I'll say this past week, I'm still trying to get my head around it, and I still have my moments, because internally I'm still pissed.
Of course.
As I will be.
But as you deserve to be.
It's still, at the end of the day, it's just like, you know what, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. I still did it. I said what I was going to do. The end result didn't happen, But
you still had the best showing you've ever had.
Well, I think it's the second best showing I've ever had.
So
lifting, yeah.
So and you decimated them, so you have to be proud of that.
I am, so that I know if it comes back to it, and we all meet in the platform in 2021, that I have the cards in my hand that I can take the gold and everything, and stand on top of that podium. So it's just a matter of choice to run with it or not.
Yeah.
And it's, it's to say, who's to say what I'll think when January 2021 hits? Because I'm trying to give my body a break, do new things for my mind, push a little bit. And as crazy as it sounds, anyone who really knows me, I don't like cardio, but kind of getting back into the swing of things, like when I trained to fight because I never got tired. Right. Now that I don't, but it's not like I do cardio, so there's no point to see how I get tired. But it's just that shift of the wave. Like I crashed on the shore, the next wave took me out. Now I'm riding this next wave, and it's kind of like, what are we gonna do?
It's a beautiful way to put it.
It is, and the funny thing is the episode we just released, 18.
18, yeah.
My wife quoted half that stuff back to me today, like she was listening to it. And like texted to me.
Oh,
and I'm
just for you, for your own health.
Yeah, because she knows like this past week's been a little rough, and it's like, it's selfish, but she was talking about how we talked about the water and Bruce Lee and the waves and the river and these things, and talking about like donating clothes and all these little things. And she's like, be that, do that. And I go, yeah, I know this past week. And I'm like, I haven't, and I'm trying, and this and that. And I'm like, it's stupid to say that can derail you so bad. But even after the first time I ever lost a fight, I was that way, but it was all internal and I kept it to me. Yeah. And I remember my one coach, called him Bosu, his real name's Dave. And he goes, talk to me later that week. He goes, so when did you lose it?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question,
and
man.
He goes, when did you lose it? And I go, because I lost on the 18th of December. My grandpa passed on the 24th of December, and I think it was either before or after that. I can't remember exactly, but it was I think it was before he had passed, but he was on the downward spiral. And I said, I did. And he goes, did you lose it? And I go, my face was beaten to a pulp, as a lot of MMA guys are. And for a lot of people who don't know, when what you see in the mirror, it's a hard psychological thing when you look back and there's no outline to your face because you're just fucking swollen, broken nose, orbital bone, and all this kind of thing. But it's a fun fight.
It sounds like so I couldn't let that go.
It was. It's, you know what you're signing up for. You're going to eat fist and feet. So but it was one of those things. Like, and it's that kind of same thing that I had went undefeated for so long in martial arts and getting in the cage. So that was a little harder. But this is just one of those things. But it's like internally I'm still a little mad. But it's like, you know what? As they always say in fighting, don't leave it to the judges.
Right.
You end it.
Yeah, totally, man.
Different weightlifting.
Yeah.
You have to let the judges, because they're the one. There's three going to give you,
right, and especially on a push out. That's obvious if that's what it is.
And it was the snatch. I say no. The clean and jerk, maybe you can call it. So either way,
wow.
But it's just like, okay, whatever. So,
well, I think that
it's just like,
anybody else
you do it better
would probably be in a much worse place right now.
Maybe so.
I think that the work that you've done for a long time now, and especially as of late with the meditation and stuff, you were able, I bet, to get yourself back to being a normal fucking human being.
Yeah, and this past week, I've not been as hardcore with my meditation. I took like a complete reset a little bit over the weekend. Sure. I did it today and I did it yesterday. I did a complete little reset last week of, even prior to finding the results, of just seeing how am I when I cut it out of it, when I don't do it.
Right.
And it's just like you're saying, you kind of come back to it and it's like, okay, I need to do that. Like, I did Wim stuff all this morning after working out. I'll probably do one of Sam's before bed. It's just a nice relaxer.
Yep.
And it's just kind of finding those little things, but it's just one of those things of, I feel we all, here's your normal path. You go through the brush and whoosh, I'm coming back.
Yeah.
And
go mess yourself up.
Yeah, that's what my wife's like, you feel all that helps? And I go, I feel it truly does, because I feel, using this as a metaphor, not how I think, is it internally keeps the beast at bay, that it doesn't erupt and stuff like that. And I think we all have that inner demon that's waiting to explode in certain things that we do in our day-to-day life.
Yeah.
Keep it at bay. Because obviously there's many times a day, like we can use Facebook again. Oh, that stupid so-and-so posted this, blah, blah, blah. They want to vote for whoever, blah, blah, blah. You can just let it roll, but you don't, because God forbid if you just let your tongue roll how you felt, or actions how you felt.
Right.
But that's kind of how, like, I feel that the meditation, getting back into the martial arts, old training I did, coming full circle, it will ground me more and bring me back to that, crazy to say it, that more internal peace that we all kind of strive for.
Yeah. Well, I would I would probably argue a little bit that inner, like that beast, is also a little bit of depression.
Oh, yeah, I would agree.
Like a tad bit, just enough to get you to say, fuck it, I'm not getting out of bed today.
Yeah.
Just for a day or two, right? They call that the dark soul.
Oh, yeah.
The night, right? And I'm not sure who the original person was. I've read it everywhere. But I know when I get into that place, let's say it's a 3-day event.
Yeah.
On day 1, it's over. What I'm throwing in the towel, I'm done. I'm taking a walk off a long walk off a short pier.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Day 2, I'm in it thick, right? By about halfway through day 2, I'm starting to climb out a little bit. By day 3, I'm like, all right, I'm good. But I learned something. As long as you learn something while you're in that place, I think you were supposed to go there.
Yeah.
And I think it's important that you don't disregard that place. And, I'm just going to push through this and I'm just going to keep going to work. And, whoa, hold on a second.
Yeah.
Your body is telling you something.
I agree.
Your mind is trying to talk to you. Listen. And I hate it because I hear people that are very close to me say, well, I got to do this because I just got to make the money. It's your health.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to be able to go and make money if you keep doing this. Trust me.
Oh, yeah.
Trust me. I ended up in the hospital for it.
Yeah.
You can't keep doing this stuff.
And that's a lot of people don't get, and it's those things. And mine wasn't to the extreme of, causing physical,
right,
health or issues or anything like that. But
of course, but it could very well have.
It could, you can run yourself into that. And it's the same thing, like a lot of people, step away from many things. It's just, what's it worth at that point anymore?
Right.
And that's where you draw the line. And not like I make a living from weightlifting. There are very few that do, not in our country at least, typically. But
right. There's one. He's Russian, really big.
Yeah, well, that's usually the other. They pay well, unfortunately. But
yeah,
there are particular people in the country that have gyms. They're trying to change that to.
Aren't those guys like made out to be like superstars?
Well, in other countries, Olympians. So Russia, I think Japan, China. I could be wrong on this. Don't quote me exactly. But other countries, their Olympians are paid salaried athletes to the country.
Oh, wow.
So like here in America, you have MLB, NHL, NFL, NBA.
All privatized.
MLS. Yep. Privatized, but they're paid. Mm-hmm. Now, the sports that pay big bucks in other countries, soccer and those things, but like South Korea, their international sport is Taekwondo. They pay their top athletes to train. Russia, China, Japan pay their top athletes to do nothing but train. That's their job.
Because they represent the country.
Yes. And if they medal when the Olympics happen, then they get bigger payouts.
Right.
Whereas here in the U.S., I think I don't remember how it changes. Let's say $15,000 for first, 10 for second, and then 75 for third. Well, great, cool. And we are one of probably the few countries too. Good job, Jeremy. You just got all gold. Hey, welcome back to U.S. after winning your 2021 Tokyo medals. You now get taxed on that.
Taxed on your medal?
They get taxed because they get taxed on their winnings from the gold, and then the medals don't have as much gold, silver, and bronze as they used to.
Sure,
but they get taxed on the amount of in it. How crazy is that with other countries? And it's just an ass backwards thing that we do things differently, but that's a whole nother topic too for another day. But it's weird that they do those things.
That book is thick. It's growing, Jeff.
As we've, jumped into this realm. But yeah, it's one of those weird things of sports is how other countries treat their athletes and stuff a little differently than we do. But yeah, it's whatever.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you, dude. Yeah. That's
let's hear about
it's both unnerving and like humbling.
It is.
Like you have to be able to be like, I would have never imagined that would have happened to me. Shit. But now, and maybe it's only temporary. Maybe in a week, I'm old jerk off that used to be sitting around here. But maybe, I don't know, maybe it goes even further. And maybe I'm able to be in a position where something would have driven me off the deep end, and I'm able to just stand my ground and...
I think it's those moments, you got those moments of weakness that you've grown and you've used some of these teachings that, we're doing or other things in life that someone might be doing that you hit that point, and then you're like, what am I doing? And then you pull yourself back because you've grown enough to recognize what you should not be doing or how you're acting versus
dude.
before.
I just hope that it sticks around. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
but I think it will, because I had that small moment and then I kind of just let it go, and internally I kept it. But, now it's just kind of like, and as I see more, the masters athletes and they post stuff, I'm internally grateful and happy for all of them.
Yes.
And this one dude, I can't remember his name. He's 88. I think he's won like 38 national or maybe more national championships. And it's like, dude, that's badass. He goes, I'll keep doing this till, I can't.
Yeah.
And that's something cool to see, that some dude who's been doing it.
Yeah.
Even doubling my age, I don't hit 88. And this dude is doing that, and he's won how many? It's like, that's cool.
It's amazing, man.
And that makes me, still for the love of the sport, okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Had a bad thing. My second big national meet, only hit one snatch, one clean and jerk on the third attempt of each.
No kidding.
Yeah, out in fucking Reno. But, and everyone watching me online and on TV, and it's like, oh, nerves, everything. Hey, pull out your ass. But you know what? It doesn't always go away. So,
well, you can't tell. You can want things, but you can't get, you can.
And no matter how bad I want it,
it doesn't matter.
No one I can go to argue to. Nothing will be overturned. There's nothing done the moment.
But there was a reason, though.
The moment those videos were submitted, it was done. My fate was sealed. And that's fine.
Who's to say you wouldn't have won this last thing and ego got a little bit too big?
Yeah, it's possible.
Who knows, man? So, dude, I'm proud of you.
Yeah,
I'm proud of you for the numbers, but I'm proud of you for how you handled it.
I'm so proud of myself. Little not for my first initial reaction, but overall performance, what I did, how hard I worked.
Yeah.
Early mornings, some late nights. Working out sometimes.
I know, man. I know.
So,
I know how you train.
Yeah,
it's pretty vicious.
Let's flip this now. I want to hear about this. The guided meditations.
Yeah, man. So, all right. So I've gotten pretty decent with my meditations. I can get into that zone pretty quickly on most days. I find that if I'm better to my body, I've exercised, I've done yoga, I've meditated, or I've stayed on track with my meditations. My diet is a little better than normal. I drink plenty of water. Keep going with the no alcohol like I have been. Those all heighten my experience, right? They make things better. They help me get to the zone, help me stay in the zone longer. For somebody that's just starting this, I've gotten up to about 15 minutes is my longest, where I'm like, actually, like, okay, this is a solid meditation. I really don't want to stop. But I saw a local studio here in Illinois has got they had a guided meditation session. I saw it was 30 minutes, and my first instinct was like,
you want to shout him out or no?
I do, but I know his name. I got to pull his studio name up because it's rattling around in my foggy brain right now.
I didn't know if you did or you want to keep
No, I will. No. I want to keep it to myself.
Sorry, I'm not sharing this
It's
one.
a small studio. You know what? I'll keep it to myself for now because I don't know. Not that like millions of people are going to hear this, but I mean, you know what I mean. I'll wait. I'll keep it private for now. So anyway, the first thought was, I think I'm ready. Second thought was sheer panic and what the hell are you thinking?
Well, nerves.
Oh, totally. But also my anxiety that I used to deal with so often would have at some point in that 30 minutes creeped into me and I would have been out the door.
Yeah.
Right. I would have interrupted everybody else's session.
Well, your internal brain thoughts would not have allowed you to sit there for 30.
Yes. So my third or fourth thought is like, okay, you can do this. You can just go do it now. Bye. And it's donation based. So I was like, okay, well, I can afford this and feel good about it. And I did. And I get there and it's just me and 4 other people. And that includes an instructor and, or guide or whatever you want to call it. And, I'm getting settled in and I start to feel a little anxiety because I don't have any control over anything right now. And
random question, did you sit or lay down?
Sit.
Okay.
Yeah, I like to sit. I like to sit on a pillow or two. Here it was really cool because you got a small one for your butt and then a bigger one underneath that for your legs and stuff.
That really helps.
Oh, it was so nice. It was so comfortable. So I go in there and it's just it's beautiful. I get there, it's beautiful. I got my jug of water. I don't really know what to expect.
Oh
yeah,
I
don't have any expectations. I just don't know. So I walk in the door and it's a very unassuming place. You know, it's next to an older laundromat.
Okay.
And it's like, all right, whatever. So I go in and the scene is just, it's perfect. It's intensely chill, if you know what I mean.
It's got that energy already.
It's got that vibe in it, man. You walk in, you're like, woo, it's buzzing in here. Like,
yeah.
It's just your hair moves, you know? And so I get in there and we start BSing a little bit, telling each other about ourselves for a couple minutes. And I wait till the very end to say anything about myself, and I keep it brief, but I'm sort of like trying to figure out, okay, am I ready?
Yeah.
Am I ready? Like in the back of my mind. And finally I just let go of everything. And the music starts, and then all of a sudden some real percussion comes in, and you start feeling this stuff, and it starts rising, and you've got these crescendos, and it was beautiful. And I thought, man, this is wonderful. I'm at about minute 10, and I'm like, I don't know where we're at.
Yeah.
But I could sit here for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
And then about minute, I don't know, 15, my body wants to get up. Anxiety is setting in.
Yeah.
I'm getting in this fight or flight mode. I don't know why.
Well,
because
like
I'm
what
having...
Sam says is to kind of re-get you going. Is to
and it did.
Refocus.
Yes. Yep. And so it was like somebody with a really strong hand flicking me in the ear. And so I heard it. And brother, for the first time since I got what I would call sick a couple years ago, I was able to say, you know what? I would have walked out before, but I know that. So if I do it again now, it's really on me.
Yeah.
And I'm really going to set myself back in my training, my mental training.
Yeah.
And so I did it, man. And I was so proud of myself. I was like, you did it, man. Like you kicked his ass.
No easy feat to sit there for.
It's not.
Those 20, because I've done a few of Sam's 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And I got to be in the right state of mind even before. I'm like, because I do the daily ones, and sometimes I'll hit 20, and man, I'm gung ho. Then he's like, in the final minute, I'm like, damn you, Sam, let's give me another 10. I want 10. And it's always when you're not wanting to do, when the time frame's not. But
yeah. So anyway, I wasn't thinking of anything else in the world after that happened. I mean, I got back in the zone. That is until now. I'm going to say this: I had no cannabis. I don't really drink alcohol.
Yep.
I had lots of water in me. I think I was fasting because I like to fast when I meditate longer, and no stimulants, no nothing. But everything's calm, and I'm just trying to get back in the zone there. And all of a sudden, somebody runs in front of me, and I mean like I saw somebody run in front of me. And I'll explain. They were short. They had a striped sweater on and a pair of corduroy pants and hair colored just like mine. And when I tell you that, woo, it's hard, man. When I tell you I had a full-on conversation with myself.
Oh.
I was 5, 6 years old.
I was gonna say it was internally you, wasn't it?
Yeah, bro.
I already knew when you said what was on. It.
Yeah,
it's younger Jeremy.
Yeah,
it's simple.
So I don't have any conscious understanding of what's going on externally.
Yeah,
no, I don't. My hands are glued to my knees, and I'm just one, and I'm in this crazy ass place. I am talking to myself like I'm talking to you.
Yeah,
and he's running in front of me. And then he turns around and looks at me, and this conversation starts. And I don't realize it, but I was crying in the studio. I'm in front of all these people, whatever. I was crying. I didn't know it. I wasn't making any noise. I wasn't talking outwardly.
But yeah, like a lot of people,
right?
They'll say that when they meditate is, tears.
Yeah.
I always have it. It's not tears. It's, your eyes just water.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. But I usually do mine after working out. So that can be numerous things. But yeah.
Yeah. Right.
That's not uncommon that people will sit there and do that. Like they'll cry. They'll convulge, shake.
Yeah.
They'll do the motions of hugging. Like your body will mimic what you're feeling, but yet you consciously have no idea you're aware of it because you've truly got yourself so relaxed.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think I was probably pretty close to that, and so I'll just say this. I won't go on too much about my past here. You can find it elsewhere, but I had the mental fortitude or some understanding to ask myself if I was okay. I asked the little me, little dude run around the trailer park. I said, "Are you okay?" And I meant, "Are you okay?"
Yeah.
Like, "Are you okay?" And man, he laughed and he said, "I am now." And I fucking lost it, man. I come to, and I'm fucking got tears streaming down my face and stuff. And well, it was fucking exciting, man. It was really nice to get back in the old car and drive home.
Well, you
that.
found that point.
Yeah.
We'll interpret this a little bit, and I'll take it from what all the nonsense I read.
Yeah, you got it.
I'm not being mean to myself, nonsense, but you found what so many people in life are striving to do.
Yeah.
You forgave yourself from a time you probably don't remember much. You might. Not many people do. I can honestly say I can't probably recall anything from being 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah. I've got some.
Maybe if I
got some
deeply sat and thought and meditated, I might be able to pull out a subconscious. But you did what most can't do, is forgive themselves.
Yeah.
And that's like myself the other day, I told my wife I was sorry. I even wrote her a note because I had to leave. I left work for work early. I wanted to get home early that day. And most can't do that.
Yeah.
You still fight this internal battle of button heads with your own self, that in that peaceful moment, you had the past come to the present, and you asked your, past self if you're okay, when really I believe that's more of your current self asking you.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you kind of catch me, you were the one that asked if you were okay to the young you, but the young you was you at that present moment.
Yeah.
And the other one was the internal you.
It's wild how life puts us in places, Jeff.
Oh, it does.
We have free will.
Yeah.
Sure, we have free will to change things and do this and the other. But your free will doesn't mean that what you're doing is right.
Oh, yeah.
Your free will means you can go that way, but one day you're going to have to come back.
Yeah.
You got to come back to source or center, right?
There's always that free will of, you have many different options to go, but some of those options are right, and some of those are just dead wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So life, I've looked at a few large changes in my life over the past decade, within the past week. And one of those changes was bringing me here to Troy, Illinois.
Yeah.
A city that I had nothing to do with. I'm not from here. It's
at least you're not far from it.
No, not at all. I'm from Collinsville, Caseyville originally, and O'Fallon, Illinois, if you're from here locally. But I digress. When I moved here, I didn't have the mental capacity to understand that it was anything more than just a dumb decision that we made. Mm-hmm. And not dumb like it was like we regret it, like dumb like it was just whatever. That hey, throw a piece of gum at the map and let's see where we're going, kind of thing.
Yeah, okay.
And so I'm driving down the road, and I see a house on the side of the road, and I'm like, it's just really familiar, but maybe whatever. Maybe I've driven past it before. The more I drive by it, the more pieces start to fill my head. So, and this goes back to the meditation thing, I promise. So one day, within the recent past, I drove past it, and I'm like, oh my God, I lived in that house. Oh. That's why I remember. I mean, I lived all over the place when I was a kid. God love my mother. She was a very young child. She was 15 when she got pregnant, 16 when she had me. She, like I said earlier, she probably didn't know shit about dick, and she did her best, I'm sure. So I realized that this is the house I live. Then I realized, oh my God, this isn't just the house. I didn't just live in this house. This is the house my little brother was born in. And that's not what I oh my God about. The oh my God is shortly after he was born, I was carrying him out of his crib.
Mm-hmm.
I love my little brother so much, man. It's one of those things where when you're a kid and you never have any friends because you move so often, and then all of a sudden you're going to have a built-in friend, you got a fucking captive audience, man.
Yeah, you got someone for life.
You could say I was pretty excited. And please forgive me. So I brought him out of his crib that night, and somebody had just put new carpet in that place. It was a little duplex is what it was. And I guess they didn't tack it down at the seam, and so my foot caught the seam.
Mm-hmm.
And my new baby brother crushed his skull in between me and the corner of the wall. It didn't kill him, but I know sometimes he wishes it did. The reason I'm here is so I can fucking deal with this.
Yeah.
The reason I live in fucking Troy, Illinois, in the middle of nowhere is so I can deal with this shit. And if you don't think you got some shit that you need to deal with somewhere, you're mistaken. You ain't got to get on fucking TV or nothing and cry about it. Not like my dumb ass. But when I realized that, it opened the floodgates and allowed me to start dealing with it.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell? I mean, it wobbled me so hard, man. But I never knew why I was here in this particular place until just last week.
Your mind wasn't allowing you to see the picture that you passed.
It wasn't. I was just, oh yeah, there's a house. Yep, there's a house. There's a fucking house.
That's
man.
A really good way of seeing things. And how many times you drive past something every day and you don't notice it.
Yeah.
Because your mind's only letting you see what it wants to see. And when you guys, as crazy you might think we are here, when you truly get your mind to be very, very open to all possibilities, to be more of a free thinker than closed or one-sided as lots of things try to force, you'll be amazed what you truly see past. And we've talked about this before is, yes, I can stare at Jeremy, but I'm looking past him. Now, obviously, there's only so much past him here. Things, on the walls, the skateboards, the light, stuff over here. But it's seeing past what you actually see, guys, and not just limiting what the mind wants. And that's the hard reality that, unfortunately, in traumatic events or whatever we want to call it in life, you only see what you want because the mind does its job to block out everything else to function. No different than if you break your arm, your body will do what it needs to do for you to continue to use it and function, not at 100%, but that's how the body and the mind works. It will adapt. It will shut something off. It will block something, push it so that you continue to function. And I believe that guided meditation and completely opened it and allowed you to see what you've not seen for, however many years.
Dude, I'll be, 44 this week. So, yeah, it's been...
An old fucker. No, I can't say anything.
Since it happened, it's been 43 plus years. But,
and to think that you can remember that. And again, that's like what I say, like, most of us cannot internalize something from that time frame of our lives. And it's already proven. You guys can read any psychology book on the brain or anything that most adults cannot go back. I believe it's, if I remember correctly, 8, 9, 10-ish is when most of your brain can start recalling things.
Yeah.
Few things you might, but most, you can never go back to that. And
but the thing is, though, and because I've got so much more than that, but that's, I believe that it's the severity or the kind of trauma that you experience will dictate when you start remembering things. Or it can.
Or when you're ready to take it on.
Yeah, there you go. That's a much better way to look at it.
Because 43 years ago, okay, let's go back 15. If you recalled that then, you wouldn't have been dealing with it like you do now.
Oh, no. No, I would have been in a fit of depression or rage. Like I would have went and gotten drunk.
And I think it goes back to no different than if you were on time to me and what happened to me last week. Mine's not as severe as anything we're talking about. It would have been completely two different reactions.
Oh, of course.
And I think it goes with the mind of, again, getting older. The mind thinks differently,
Right.
Because, if we sat here and like you're doing, you're writing a book, something like we should all do is write a book, whether you publish it or not. But if you write down your experiences probably from your 20s to what you're in your 30s, and then when you get to your 40s, you will see the evolution and the growth of you physically, mentally, spiritually through each one of these decades.
Yeah. Yeah. This is unreal. This is, I don't know how many of you guys pay for therapists, but you just get a damn podcast and just start talking.
Well, no, not to. Well, you want statistics? Therapy is up like 100+%.
Yeah, of course.
After COVID.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, I sort of cut it off there a little bit, but I left that night a different person. That was before I realized the stuff about my little brother. That was, I left there a different person.
So can I ask you, did you know that happened, or did that just spark because of when you drove? Like, because that's something prior to that, can you remember or no?
No, what the conversation I had with myself?
No, like with your little brother. Is that something prior to the meditation that you could actively?
Oh yeah,
remember? Okay.
Yeah, I've remembered. No, I've remembered that instance my whole life. I've never.
Okay, I didn't know. It's one of those things that
it's like losing a buddy right in front of you, or you know what I mean. It's really no different. Well, I mean, especially as a child, it's your baby brother. It's your mom's kid. You know what I mean? All that stuff. And he's gone on to have a pretty challenging life. He's a wonderful, wonderful person. He's got a heart twice the size of mine. But it took something from him. And he's just never quite been able to put all the pieces together. Well, he's worked a lot in fast food. He's lost a lot of cars. He's lost a lot of wives. I sent him a message, I think it was yesterday. I said, hey, I want to congratulate you on getting your forklift operator license. I saw it, something put online. And I said, I just can't tell you how much I'm proud of you, And I said, this is going to change your life, man.
Oh, yeah.
Because now he gets a job where you can make $30 an hour, not 11, And he sold the old beat-up motorhome he was living in, moved into a house, got a car. I mean, things are...
It's good.
Things are so fucking connected, though, Jeff.
Well, it is. It's amazing.
I have this experience, and I let loose of all this horrible shit. And it's not about him. It's on me.
Uh-huh.
And then within a couple of days, I see that he's making strides to do wonderful things for himself. And, but it's connected.
It's connected, but maybe it has something to do with what he's seen you do.
I don't know.
The changes, because he may not tell you. As we all know, there's people always watching you.
Yeah.
And whether they tell you, you inspire them or, whatever for them, maybe what you've done over this past year in your changes, he's seen, and that caused an internal spark in him to do things that he's seen and wants to do. But I agree with you. We are all connected
Yeah.
We told you before to watch Dark. It's on Netflix, little thing. But
do or don't.
It's just a very good way of putting it, that if we all actually sat for a moment and reflected as deep as Jeremy did last week and think about the connectivity. So I would encourage you all, find a peaceful spot, no TV, no music, no nothing. Don't have our voices going right now. Sit for 5 minutes and think of the connection of the world, that what you do next affects more than one person. So, when you go for a drive, that could affect countless lives if you do something stupid. Like, good or bad, we are all connected down this giant chain link, and that what you do down here, this person down here will feel. But a lot of us don't think of that. We think about the selfishness of I, me, over and over and over, not the we, us, so to speak. And I encourage you guys, like, sit there and think about that. Like, if I do this, what would happen? Think of all the outcomes. Or even if you do something good, it will spread to others. And it's an amazing thing that a lot of people just don't get, that, like, when you do those types of things in life, whether people are acknowledging that they see you doing it, they will start to do those things. And
I hope so.
You know, that's like
if
things
not, then
I try to put into my, you know, former coworkers, a lot of the things I read, and, you know, might have been a little nutty to some of them and a little off the wall with, but I was here and they were here. It's not being mean of life. It's, we all get to different points, and sometimes you got to wait for others to catch up. Sometimes you're the one that's got to catch up to those people.
Right.
You know,
and that's a perfect way to put it, because a lot of times you'll look behind you and go, wait, where are my friends at?
But you can't.
Your friends they need something different right now than you do.
Yeah.
It's not that they don't like you or don't want to be around you. They may be concerned or nervous or scared because maybe you talk like Jeff and I do when you didn't before.
Yeah.
But that's okay, because it's going to get you to a place where you know that it's okay.
Yeah.
It's always going to be okay if you let it be okay. If you meet irrationality with the same, or with anger or whatever, then it's going to continue the same shit. If you stop everything in the middle of whatever the chaos is, internally or externally, and you just say, fucking stop. That's a fucking great story, bro, because it's in my head.
Yeah.
Next story. I'm ready to go make a new one. Only this time, can it be with somebody outside, please? Mm-hmm. You know? And I don't mean that in a schizophrenic kind of way.
Yeah.
Or even a bipolar kind of way. I'm serious. You tell yourself, you're fucking better than this, and you deserve better than this. Stop doing this to yourself.
There's nothing wrong with self-talk.
Yeah, man.
And what Jeremy's saying is, I do it when I lift. You know, that day I did that virtual meet, talk to myself, okay, you made weight. Okay, let's eat. Let's get our head right. What do we want to hit? We already have it written down. We wrote it down weeks ago, what we're trying to hit. Okay, let's do this. We already know what we're doing. We got the plan. We got the ramp up. I did the same thing when I fought. Martial arts. I did the same thing when I was in college and track for every race. Like, I would always do this, and I still do it. I'll do it myself. You know, like, before I get out of my truck to start my day, you know, at work, I'll do the same thing and be like, all right, let's make it the best day ever. And it's probably not going to be, but
yeah,
to have that, like my coach used to say, and he goes, you know, it's complete bullshit, but at least you can tell yourself that you already are putting something better in your day than might come and hit you. You know, but getting that process, have that self-talk, whether you got to have the good conversation or you got to have the bad conversation with yourself. Have it.
Man, you know what I've started to tell myself in meditation at the very beginning? When you first get into meditation, you're like, wait, I'm not ready yet. All right. No,
you're shifting there. Yeah, because everyone's like, oh, this itches. And it's like, nah, let it go.
It doesn't.
You got to block it.
Yes, and it will go away. But anyway, gosh dang it, man. I've got myself so worked up here. I can't remember what I was just going to tell you. It'll come back. I'll get to it. I promise. You know, I said earlier that I was celebrating a little because this is our 20th anniversary, or 20th show, 20th anniversary. Wow.
20 years.
Golly.
I don't believe podcasts
sort of flew by. I think we made a wrong turn, man. Not only am I very, very proud of what Jeff and I are doing, what we've done so far, and what I know we're going to do, I was scared to death to talk about some of the things that we've talked about tonight. And I'll admit that. And I'm not better than anybody else. And I need everybody to know that we're not preaching. The intent here is not to preach. The intent here is to help. And if I didn't tell you that I was scared out of my mind, well, you might think otherwise, and that wouldn't be very fair or true. And when I decided to use a little cannabis because I knew that it would help calm me down, well, it did. Mm-hmm. And I'm very thankful for it. I don't like the fact that I had to do something like that, or at least I think I had to do something like that.
Yeah, but you use it for multiple reasons, not
I try not to abuse
quote
it.
unquote courage aspect of, like
right.
Everyone says, alcohol, liquid courage, but also for the fact of you used it to probably keep the anxiety and emotions at a doable level to allow you to even speak about it.
Well, I could barely even speak when we first started the episode.
Yeah.
I was just a ball of energy.
Yeah, you could tell.
I was already...
And we already knew today when we were talking, because you're like, dude, I can't wait to talk, you know, share my little instance, you know, and you sharing yours and everything. But you're like, oh, dude, I got, you know, buckets. What did you put? Buckets load, I think is what it is. Like, all right, I put, you know, a shit ton, whatever we talked about in text today beforehand. But it's like, you know, I knew today, I'm like, okay, he's more so than ever previously, because we have more than 20, because we did goof around and play and stuff. But in this 20 episodes, via conversation, even prior to us just usually bantering and bullshitting before we hit the mic or hit record, you've not been that way. And I knew, I'm like, okay, he's really got something.
Oh, yeah. It took me an extra 10 minutes just to figure out where my water was.
Oh,
or like had to go to the bathroom, had to do all these things, which I normally...
see the anxiety of...
Yes. Totally.
One, you know what you wanted to do, but two, trying to prolong it, and then you're like, all right, well, shit, you got to go.
Imagine, if you will, the feeling of you're told in 15 minutes you need to read this speech off in front of a crowd. Let's say a crowd of 5,000 people, right? That's not unheard of. Mm-hmm. That's the feeling I had coming in here. But the funny thing is I have no fear of public speaking.
Yeah.
I used to, but I have none anymore. It's whatever, it is what it is. But in that moment, it felt like that stage fright, like where your knees are buckling.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, all of a sudden I'm Gumby here.
But it's just an emotional thing that you shared, and I appreciate it because, again, guys, a lot of the things we talk about, it's not like I knew this prior to sitting here with Jeremy. So
that wouldn't be very genuine, would it?
Well, yes.
I mean, really, that's to your point you're speaking.
But, yeah, like some of the stuff we've shared in the podcast, it's not that I knew this beforehand. A lot of this I'm learning about Jeremy and vice versa as we go, that I think comes with our growth through the podcast and talking and what we do. But even for you guys, there's things you may not know about people in your life that in time, maybe one day they will, but we all have to get to those points, as we talked earlier, that we're ready to handle those things. And
you can't choose
for some people, it may never happen.
Yeah.
And that's fine. You can't argue that, but others, it may come sooner, may come later, may come when you least expect it, but you have to let people deal with those kind of instances in those ways, and when they're ready, they will.
Yeah. And you can wish, trust me here, you can wish even a loved one, even a family member would start to see things the way that you see them, not out of control, but out of love.
Well, so that they can connect with you. And
so you can, exactly. You can't make that happen.
No,
you can't. And part of it is I think you have to step back and say, okay, this is a lesson. I have to learn. I learned something from this, or I didn't, and if you don't, trust me, you'll make it harder for yourself.
Yeah, you can't force love, or you can't force beliefs and these types of things on individuals. It has to come out of that place of,
you can't force anything genuine for yourself or anyone else. I think that's really the main thing.
Oh, I agree.
Is like if you just stop forcing things, and I don't mean the bolt on your car, although that's a great metaphor. A lot of guys joke, I just tighten it till right before it snaps. If that's how you live your life, you're gonna snap, and it's not gonna be fun.
You can't be constantly tautly wound. You need to be in that.
You can't
space. If you want to think of it, you want to be right in the middle, and that's ideally where we all should be.
Yes,
across mind, body, spirit. We can't always say that. Sometimes you're on the rage, sometimes you're on the sad, and but you want to try and operate in that.
Oh, it's like that movie, Tree of Life, where basically is a giant metaphor for nature versus grace. It's the Mother Nature trying to rip its rivers through, and the animals eating each other, and it's grace that is the wind that's going through the air and the birds flying. And how do you want to live? Do you always want to be setting fires? Because you got to put the shit out. Mm-hmm. You don't put the shit out, that's when you go to jail.
Yeah.
You want to start all these fires. Who's going to put them out, man? We are. We are. If we set our own fires, we put the shit out. And if you expect anybody else to come to your rescue, it's impossible, because if somebody comes to your aid, you were the one that was supposed to help yourself.
Yeah.
That's the lesson, right? You have to learn, you know what, this relationship that I'm in, something ain't right. This ain't vibing. That's on you.
Yeah.
And if you stay there for 50, 60 years, that's on you too.
Yeah.
So, and it's not like, listen, you know, earlier we talked just a brief moment on friends that you might look behind you around and they're not there anymore. Your true friends, your really good friends, you come back and you go back to them.
Oh, yeah.
When you're ready.
Yeah.
Don't force it.
Yeah, and that's everything in life. We all grow at different speeds.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Truthfully. You know?
Oh, jeez.
You know,
Yeah.
and you know, that's just the thing of life. We all grow at different paces, speeds, go different directions, but the true ones, you know, you always will find your way back to those people in your life that you had before. You know, no different than talking about the wave. You know, the wave of weightlifting crashed and it threw me up on the shore and into the rocks, and I got up, dusted off, and got sucked back out into the surf, and now I'm riding a new wave. And
I love it.
if you want to use that as like, I believe that that's kind of how life goes. You're riding a great wave for a while, and man, shit, you got kicked and thrown into the rocks, or you know, you end up on the sandy shore, spitting sand out of your mouth, pulling maybe some seaweed off you, and then you go right back out into the, you know, to the water, and then you're riding. But
wash, rinse, repeat, right?
that is life.
It is. Yeah.
You get knocked down, you get up, and you learn from those lessons, or you don't.
You know, it's funny though, because we can sit here and say that, yeah, you know, it's even as cliche as it is, you get knocked down and you get back up. All right. But there's going to be a day where you get knocked down for the last time in your head. It's the last time that you're going to get knocked down, because you are going to take charge and start changing things.
Yep.
Am I right?
It was the very last few pages in that book.
Oh, yeah.
Talks about...
I'll show it. I think I can do that.
Yeah, you can.
Tao of Wu.
Wu-Tang.
Yeah. Good book, huh?
Yeah, very good book. But talking about that, you know, the human body is more as a vessel, as a spirit. And he, you know, kind of talks about, you know, when that last breath comes, he talked about losing his mom and, you know, ODB and stuff like that, where he kind of lost himself in that early 2000 period.
Yep.
That his wife, his son being born kind of relit that fire. But he talks about like the demons and the hatred he had to being this man of peace. And it's like, I was that person, but I had to evolve to this. It's that same thing of, he talks about like, you got so many breaths and you're this physical entity that life is through. Your life will continue to go on. Your physical being won't. And that's what he talks about at the end of that book, kind of like, you know, you don't know when that comes.
Yeah.
And kind of what direction you want to go with it.
Right.
He kind of had to be, I think it was 4 or 5 years, I think he talks about that. He was in this loss and of anger and rage and didn't want to do his thing. And then met his wife, got his baby boy, and
there he goes.
Back on that wave. And I would probably say he's still riding that same wave from 2005.
Yeah, he's one of the few that are still left doing that art. That's what I call it. That hasn't deviated, hasn't, you know, thrown in an extra can of soup, nothing. It's just, and it's timeless. Like everything, and not just Wu-Tang, because RZA's got his hands in all sorts of artists.
Oh, yeah, he's insane.
I mean, yeah, it's pretty impressive, man. Really impressive. I love it.
Yeah.
I love those guys.
It's a good book, guys. Jeremy let me borrow it. And
it's called The Tao of Wu.
Yeah.
The RZA. If you don't know him, he's a producer and one of the founding members of Wu-Tang Clan, which is just
badass book. And like, you definitely don't want to put it down.
Yeah.
Like, in a lot of it, I would go back and I'd reread, because it's like, man, his words, like, very, very good.
Very poignant. You can hear him too if you know his voice. When you read it, it's like, oh, it's perfect. You know, man. All right. Today has been amazing.
It's a good one.
Today has been such an amazing day. Thanks again. Thank you.
I'm happy to be here. Share,
helping me on my path.
Listen,
you know, and I hope that we can add some to yours as well. And if you're out there listening or watching, if you dare. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Always, guys. Always.
We hope that if you need this information or can think of anybody else, not that there's anybody else out there that needs any help, maybe you let them know, because we don't get paid, and we're not looking to do anything like that here. Our intent here is to help
and help ourselves as we help you.
Yep,
so
absolutely.
This works. You guys got questions?
That's right.
Hit us up. Message us.
That's right.
You want more stuff? Something you want us to talk about? Let us know.
That's right, man.
We're all game for it.
That's right. That's what's up. All right. On that note, I guess we say what's up, and thank you all for coming.
Thank you for listening to What More Could You Want?
Thank you very much. It's been very therapeutic.
Absolutely.
I surely appreciated your ears today, and we'll see you next time.
Sounds good.
Peace.
Clap it.
I'm clapping it. You got to give me a minute. I got to find it.
Yeah, because you threw it.
I guess I'm not used to that yet. All right. Oh.
Not too loud, not too loud, not too right. Not down too loud.